So if someone was to come up to me and ask me what the biggest thing is that I've learned from skateboarding, and I'll just tell them patience. You see, if you really want to progress in skateboarding, you have to be patient. That's literally all it is. Like, there's this book here that I've been reading. This is the second time I'm reading it now because I wanted to reread it, because I think during my time skateboarding, like, this book will come in very handy. So now all the hardcore skateboarders right now will be watching this thinking, like, what's reading got to do with skateboarding? Like, this has nothing to do with our sport. Well, let me just tell you something. This book right here is called Atomic Habits, and it's literally just all about building habits and sticking to habits and dropping bad habits. So just everything about the book is about habits. And then for me, my biggest habit right now is building the habit to skateboard. So I've made a commitment to myself that every single day I'm going to be in that skate park, but for at least half an hour to an hour, I'm just going to practice and just like try and level up my skateboarding. Now the thing is, in that Atomic Habits book, it has something in there called the 1% rule. And the 1% rule is that if you try and just make 1% improvement each day, within a year, you'll roughly be 37 times better. Because this thing is, skateboarding, it's not something you can really progress in overnight. Like, I saw in a Netflix documentary, I think it was Leo Baker's documentary on Netflix, and then someone in there was being interviewed, and then this person said something which really stuck with me. And the thing that they said was that you can give a basketball player a basketball and they'll be able to like shoot hoops within a day. But then if you give a skateboarder a skateboard, within a day, they will not be able to ollie, they won't be able to kick flip, they won't be able to do many things which makes yourself a good skateboarder. And I guess that's the reason why a lot of people give up, because they're just not patient and they just expect like their progression in skateboarding to come like overnight in a way. You know, this can apply to many sports out there. If you give someone a golf club and a ball, they can take a swing, they can hit the ball. If you give somebody a football, they'll be able to kick that football within a day. But if you give somebody a skateboard, it's very, very difficult that they'll be able to ollie in one day. So the main point I've just realized to myself is that skateboarding is just a long journey and a long progress, and you can like never get too good at skateboarding because there's always something you can do better. So the way how I'm gonna get better at skateboarding is just like literally improving 1% every day. So in my current position, I'm at a point where I'm trying to learn ollies while rolling. And I'm also trying to learn some shove-its. So using the 1% principle, like for the ollies, for example, on day one, I'll just do an ollie stationary. And then on day two, I'll use that 1% principle and I'll try and like work on my pop. So just sort of for the whole second day, just work on the pop. And then for day three, I'll just work on sliding my foot up the board. And each day, I'm just making very, very small changes, which would be my 1% changes. And then over a long period of time, those 1% changes will just multiply. So if anyone's into accounting and finances, you'll be very familiar with compound interest. So it's like when you're getting a very small amount of money and then over time it just increases compoundly. So in our terms of skateboarding, it's just when you have the things that you've already learned and you're building on what you've already learned, so you're just growing your knowledge compoundly. So like I was saying, instead of just expecting everything to happen all at once and just trying to work on multiple things all at once, just going in very, very small steps, and over time I will just get better and better like that. And all of that just comes with building habits and building the discipline to make sure I'm in that skate park every day and I have a plan of what I'm going to work on, rather than just going in there mindlessly and just like messing about, not really planning out how my skate session on that day is going to go. So the way how I'm going on my skateboarding progress journey, so that I can learn most efficiently and make the most of my progress and really like make very fast progress, I made a commitment and I'm going to discipline myself to be in that skate park every day that's possible, and each day just make a 1% improvement on something. Because in the short term, it won't feel like I'm making a lot of progress, and at the start it'll feel like I'm sort of plateauing, so I'm not really like progressing, I'm just staying like the same level. But over time, with the 1% improvements each day, it really starts to compound, and then you'll really start to see the benefits over a long period of time. So yeah, that's just my commitment, and that's just the habit I'm trying to build up. So another example of that is when I'm doing shove-its now, because I'm at the point when I'm trying to learn shove-its. And on day one, I literally just focused on getting my toes over the edge of the board. And then on day two, I worked on trying to shove the board, so really scooping my toes underneath the tail to try and shove the board in a direction so that I could successfully get the board to do like a full 180 turn. So next week now, I'll continue to make the 1% improvements on my shove-its. So for example, my next session will be to try and land on the board. So using what I've learned previously for shove-its and then just adding a 1% improvement on that just to try and land on the board. And then after that, I could try and add a pop into my shove-its. So that's just a 1% improvement on that. So that's just my opinion on how I think is the best way for me, myself, to really progress. And maybe this could work for you as well. So maybe next time you're in a skate park, instead of working on the whole entire trick in its entirety, maybe just try and work on improvement by 1%. So just some motivation out there. If you're a beginner skateboarder like me, just make sure you stick to it and you build a habit of of being in that skate park every day, and just don't like give up on yourself, because it's just all about patience. And you know, we'll all get there eventually. We're all on the same path here. And if you're a more experienced skateboarder than me, you'll understand that you was once at this level, and you'll know that it's just all about discipline, and it's all about practice, and it's all about patience. So yeah, if you're struggling to like find a motivation to really progress, just remember to yourself to at least try working on improvement by at least 1% every day. That's all it is, just 1%. And then over time, you'll just gradually get better and better, and your progress will just compound, and it'll go from a straight line like this, and then gradually you'll get to the point when you start to see some major progress in the future.